Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive. We gon' feel alive.
Wow, guys. Hey, the first BWTB. That's right. Breakfast with the Boys right here live, right here in the studio. Hey, I'm your host, Tony Hill. Most of my buddies and my colleagues call me The Thrill. You'll soon find out, guys, that, God, it's kind of strange, though, that I went by this nickname, the TNT Connection. I got the other half of the T over here. You'll find out a little bit more about it, the beast from the east and the best from the west. But that's another story, because we're going to talk about that a little later, you know what I'm saying? But there's also another part of me that exists, and that's the TNT Connection. And that's the beast from the east, the best from the west, and the mouth from the south. So you can refer to me as any way you want to, but just want to make sure you enjoy it, because here's what it's all about. The one thing about the breakfast pod, our breakfast pod, it's not going to be your traditional scrambled eggs and bacon. No, we're not rocking and rolling that way. We're going to keep it right. You know, matter of fact, this is going to be like a smorgasbord, okay? A smorgasbord. Matter of fact, look at it as a buffet. When you go in there, you get anything you want, and that's the way I want to operate. And, you know, I got my boy on. I say breakfast with the boys. I can't go any deeper or even closer than having my son. Some call him the Thrill. They call him number 3.
No,
but I'm
nobody calls me the Thrill.
They don't call you the Thrill. Come on, baby. Well, anyway,
that's you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like where he's coming from. You know what? Tell me what they call you so that I make sure that I'm on point.
Oh, so you make sure you're on point, man. They might call me Tone. They might even call me Little Hill, but ain't nobody ever called me the Thrill. That's reserved for number 80 himself. But speaking of introductions, see, you got a list of notes over here. I didn't put up notes for talking, but I had to put a rap sheet together to introduce Tony Dorsett over here, because there's more accolades than you would believe when we talk about Tony Dorsett. So let me start here. We go in college. So some of y'all might think of All-American teams now as we have, I think, first, second team. Once upon a time, we had 3 All-American teams. Tony Dorsett was the first freshman in 29 years to be named to the All-American team at his years in Pittsburgh. All 4 of your years as an All-American, the Walter Camp Player of the Year, Sports Nation Player of the Year, the Maxwell Award, the Heisman Trophy. I'm not halfway through my list yet. National champion, 303 yards versus Notre Dame, 1,586 yards as a freshman. That's an all-time record at the time. In his 3rd game sophomore year, broke the all-time rushing record for the school. University of Pittsburgh.
How many yards was that, though?
I mean, you want me to tell you what he finished with? He finished with 6,000 yards.
6,000 yards.
6,000 yards. So I've been to Pittsburgh. My lovely wife is from the Pittsburgh area. I see in your street, there ain't nothing but the finest restaurants on Tony Dorsett Boulevard.
Yeah.
When I told her family that, I knew the guy behind the sign, I mean, Pops, they love you, but they was like, oh, Tony Dorsett, you know somebody for real then.
Come on, baby. Come on now. Keep
so,
it real
hey, first episode, man, we are blessed and happy to have you. There was nobody better to have than, as you said, man, the TNT Connection. Get it started here.
Well, that's my son, Ant, right there. But here's the deal, though, Ant. I'm looking at this. When we first started talking about how we were going to do this, we was talking about 80-minute show. 80-minute show. But
80 minutes.
And you're the reason we keeping this to 40, because there ain't no way we can conclude this all in 80 minutes. And the bottom line, we be talking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, T. And you my boy. Hey, when I say my boy, guys, hey, we're road dogs. We go back. As a matter of fact, we got so many stories we can't share the stories we want to share. Okay, I just want to make sure you keep it right. Oh no, you think we can share, but hey, your mom and his wife and his mom and your wife. No, I'm just saying we don't need to hear those stories. So here's the thing, though. Right now, though, T, you know what? This is. It's crazy. I'm with a star here. You know what I mean? T, you my boy, but I'm with a star. I thought I had it good, but here's the deal. You are what you call a rock star, dog. I'm talking about, dog, you a rock star. In your hometown, your stadium is named Tony Dorsett Stadium. At your school, right next to the school. I'm talking about Heinz Field, the school itself, the stadium, they got Tony Dorsett Street. Downtown, they got the finest shops, the finest restaurants on your streets, and I just keep calling you TD, man. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, sir. I should be bowing down to my boy because, you know, it's like that. He's got it going on that strong.
I'm gonna remind you of that.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Pops, I love you, but when I printed out your rap sheet, it didn't look nothing like this one.
Well, you know, I mean, my rap sheet was, you know, you got to remember, I mean, T comes from a town that's got 3,000 people. I come from a high school that got 3,000 people, you know, so it's a, you know.
What you talking about?
Yeah. you know, it's a difference. But you know, here's the thing, though. You know, see, T, I mean, when you go to Aliquippa, that's where you're from, Aliquippa, right?
Yes.
When you go to Aliquippa, you know, it's Tony Dorsett town, you know. But when you go to Long Beach Poly, I was the man 35 years ago, but man, they got so many boys over there. They've got Stephon Jackson, you know. They got, I mean, we've got more professional high school athletes than any high school in the country. Yeah. And so, you know, I want to, you tell me, talk to me, T. I mean, you guys being the main man, talk to me. How's that feel, man?
You guys, you know, coming from my little small hometown, you know, it didn't take much, you know, to don't take this wrong now. Don't take it to be a star, you know, because
you got to bring it. I get that. Go ahead. We're not discounting, bro.
The little town I'm from, man. You know, we had a lot of. You know, you got Mike Dicker.
Oh, Mad Dog Dicker. Oh, snap.
We got Marriage.
You ain't got Pistol Pete now.
You got Tony Dorsett.
What?
You got
we've
had some great athletes come right there in Western Pennsylvania, right outside the Pittsburgh, right in Pittsburgh area.
Is your boy Namath from that area?
Joe Namath. We used to play his high school.
Joe Willie used to play his high school?
Yeah,
oh snap. Now, now, you know, I wore number 12 in high school. I'm going to tell you, I mean, I'm going to, because I want to talk to you, but I wore number 12. And there was 3 guys that I kind of patterned myself after as a quarterback. You know, I mean, T, you ran it took me 10 years to get 6,000 yards. You ran that in a couple years. You know, that's how tough you are. But, you know, I wore number 12, Anthony. You might not know this, but there was a guy named Joe Willie Namath that I patterned myself. A guy by the name of Roger Starbuck that I patterned myself after.
And you're talking high school and growing up
playing quarterback. And those were the guys. And Fran Tarkenton, I liked the way that he could roll. And then there was this other brother named Jefferson Street Joe. You remember Jefferson Street Joe?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Quarterback over the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was probably the first black quarterback that came in and kind of got things going. And he was a bad boy. But these are some boys out of that Pittsburgh area that you're talking about. And you know, T, you coming up, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I'm reading all these accolades and all these records you broke. I mean, I told Anthony, I'm not sure, you know, if you're not from Detroit, because I mean, you should be making records as many records you done broke. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the way you keep it. I mean, you keep it real. You for the real deal. But you know, growing up, you know, in Aliquippa, you're running back, and you were a defensive back at first. Is that right though?
Yeah, I played DB first when I first got involved, you know, because they all thought I was too small to be a running back. So I played defensive back. And then, you know, one of our coaches got smart and says, you know, I think, you know, this Dorsett kid may be able to do something with like his older brothers. I had 4 older brothers.
Okay.
And so, you know, they gave me the opportunity. At one time, I was scared to run the ball. I was just too small. I didn't want to get hit. I wanted to hit. Didn't want to get hit. I wanted to hit. But then I got, you know, everybody talking about my 4 older brothers and how good they were. You're running the ball. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance at this and see if I can be as good or better than what they were.
Well, T, I want you to keep it real because here's the deal. You know, I had to do some homework on you. I mean, I'd be like, you're like a brother to me. You know, I had to do some homework on you. I look back at the high school, and they'd say as a sophomore, I think it was your sophomore year, that you and another back were competing for the starting job. Yeah. And T, on the first play, they threw him a screen pass. They threw him a screen pass. He took it 90-some yards. The other guy never got back on the field.
No more competition.
Hey, wait a minute. The other guy never got back on the field. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I told him, you know, you just put me in the game and you'll see how I play.
Oh, snap.
We talking about practice and some things like that. But I said, put me in the game. I said that's when I'll roll.
Right. So now, and I was trying to tell our listeners and et cetera, the bottom line is that our deal is like a smorgasbord. We just gonna go from here to there, from there. I mean, the bottom line, if you're on a diet, this ain't the show you want to be on because we bringing it all. We serving it up to you where you can enjoy every bit of it. So that's where we're gonna operate. So with that being said, though, let's go back. Let's talk about Aliquippa. And when I grew up, man, my dad was saying, "Hey, man, if you can't do it good, don't do it at all." As a matter of fact, you got to practice. As a matter of fact, my dad had me out on the, before a game, I'd be pitching, catching, throwing, whatever the case before a game. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, who was it your brothers that was your idol? Who inspired you to play football? Was football always your love? Was basketball your love? See, people don't know, T. We used to play basketball, and I'm going on, but we used to play basketball. We used to call T chairman of the boards. He the smallest guy on the team. Hey, we call him
I had some hops, boy.
Chairman of the boards. Hey, and he was bringing it. I'm talking about really bringing it. Yeah. But who inspired you though? Was it your brothers? Did you have an idol? Did you look up to somebody?
I always wanted to be like my brothers. I have 4 older brothers, and they were all outstanding athletes. And my whole deal was, as a kid growing up. People in the neighborhood or school and everybody was saying they were telling me you're going to be the worst. You're going to be the worst Dorsett of them all, and that's all I needed. I needed to to get me all pumped up and say, okay, well, I'll show you. Mm-hmm, I'll show you. And what it did was it motivated me. It made me just work. And I always say the key to success is you got to work. You got to work, especially in sports. You got to put the time in. You get out of it what you put into it, and that was my whole deal. I said, okay, I'm going to work. I was running. And if you ever, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, there's a lot of hills and valleys and all of that stuff, and I just started running, man. I was running them hills. I mean, in the morning and in the evening, and everybody didn't understand what are you doing? Why are you doing all this running? I said, this is what I got to do. I said, I'm doing it. I'm doing mine. I get mine, doing it my way. You get yours, doing it your way. I feel I need to work to get better.
Yeah. And like I said, in our show, we're gonna come at you all kind of different directions. We got Tony Dorsett. I mean, hey, Hawkeye, the Beast from the East. Hey, this is the man right here. But T, I'm gonna go off on a tangent for me because as being a running back, and I want to come back to the high school, but I remember this play. And I was telling my son as we was driving by here, I said, I got to bring it up. I want to make sure I don't forget because, we ride together. Mm-hmm. You remember part and I remember part. We figured out how we get home, So they got to understand that. But so St. Louis Cardinals, man, we're on the 4-yard line. They hand you the ball. I can't remember, like 81, 82, but look it up. The St. Louis Cardinals.
The Rams.
No, St. Louis Cardinals.
See, you're aging yourself right here. The St. Louis Cardinals, huh? That's what they were, the baseball team?
No, at that time, see, you're aging yourself, son. See, now we're gonna get you right. They're the Los Angeles Rams, but they were the St. Louis Cardinals when we played them.
So who's the St. Louis Cardinals? Where'd they go after that?
You know where they go? They went to the Rams. But I'm talking about back when we looked at the Cardinals.
Yeah, okay.
Come on now, keep it real with me. We gotta educate this young brother. They went to the Rams. Then the Rams always been L.A. Yeah, it's L.A. Rams, but now it's the St. Louis Cardinals we're talking about back in the day. Yeah. And so the bottom line, T, he catches this ball. They hand him the ball. It's an off-tackle play. Probably slant 34, Jayhawk right, slant 34, I don't know. But the bottom line is I wasn't in the game, so it must have been double X. Hey, here's the deal. If it was run and block, they had me out the game. If it was run and catch, I might have been in there with them, But my man comes off. I mean, here's the deal. He comes off tackle. The defensive end and the linebacker come to hit him. I mean, they come to hit him to meet him at the line of scrimmage. My man stops on a dime, reverses field, and takes it into the end zone. And the bottom line was that he hit it, reverse field, takes it in the end zone. This is probably the most spectacular 4-yard run I've ever seen. Yeah. These two dudes collide. They got to pick him up to get him up. I mean, you can go on YouTube. You can check my story out. Bottom line, that was probably one of the greatest runs I've ever seen, man. You remember that now?
I remember that very much so. And the thing about it is, on that particular play, I didn't want to be in the game at that time. Because when they called the play, I heard the play being called, so I rushed out on the field, and it was like, oh, man. Well, no. I heard them when they said, they wanted to get a running game going. But I didn't know it was going to be the play that they were talking about. And I was like, oh, my God. And when I got to I was like, oh, man. But what happened on that 99-yard run was the fact.
That was a 4-yard run.
That was a 4-yard. Okay,
right,
that's
the 4-yard run,
okay,
right.
Yeah. But yeah. You know,
and we're going to talk about the 9-yard. You know we're going to talk about that.
And being you know, those little short yardages, you know, what was I, 180 pounds or something like that?
Yeah.
You know, And so, you know, for me to be going up there running on the goal line and short yardage, man, I didn't really like that too much.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what,
but
brother.
I had to have it.
I mean, hey, you were a gem, man. You were a gold mine. Like, so, for example, so now here's the deal. I'm gonna go back to high school, and now you're running over there, and you're tearing it up. I mean, like you said, you chalking up yards like it's a chalkboard. You know, you're making things happen. Yeah. But so now you get recruited to go to college. Now, who are some of the schools that recruited you, and why did you pick Pitt? I mean, obviously it's right in your backyard. I get that, but you know, hey, why did you pick Pitt?
Well,
and was there any other schools?
You hit two of the reasons. It was close to home. I was a very quiet, shy guy, kid coming out of high school, and I didn't want to get too far away from home. And my thing was to get my family. My mom and my dad were my biggest fans, man. I was really shy. I mean, real shy. And I wanted to stay close to home just in case something happened. If I was being recruited by Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, all the big schools, and I was being back east, and I was like, I want the thing that the thing that I wanted more than anything was for my number one fan, my biggest fan was my mother.
There you go.
My mother. I wanted my mother to be able, you know, as a kid growing up at that time, you know, my dad worked in the steel mill. We didn't have a whole lot to deal with when it comes to finances. So I wanted my mom to make sure that she was going to be able to watch me play college football without having any problems.
There you go.
And so I decided to stay and go to the University of Pittsburgh. But everybody thought I was going, even myself at one time, I was going to go to Penn State.
Oh, you want to go to Penn State?
Yeah, I wanted, my whole deal was.
Joe Paterno?
Yeah, Joe Paterno, Joe Paul, as they call him. Yeah,
Hey.
And that's what happened. When I took my trip, my visit to Penn State, Joe came to me, Joe Paterno told me they had a guy by the name of John Cappelletti. There, who was a running back for them, and he eventually won the Heisman Trophy his senior year. So Joe told me, well, if you're going to come to Penn State, he said we want you to play defensive back first, and then after John Cappelletti left, his senior year, then we'll have you come back as a running back. And I said, well, my whole dream of being a Penn State, a Nittany Lion, came to an end at that point, because when he told me that, I said no. I told him, I said, look, if I be a defensive back, I'm gonna be a damn good one, and you ain't gonna want to put me back to offense. I said so my dream is to be a halfback first. I want to be like my four older brothers. That's all I want to do. I want to be like my brothers first. Yeah. And when Joe told me. He told me that on that trip, and I said, okay. I said, I dropped. My dream became a nightmare, but in reality, it turned out to work out pretty good.
Hey, T, I'm glad, though, because, you know, we brothers and stuff, man. I would hate to have to burn you as a defensive back out there, man, you know, because I would have went after you, know, if you'd have been a DB on me out there.
What?
If you would have been a DB at Penn State, you know what? Stanford played Penn State No,
bro.
Hey, I would have tore you up, though. You can run. I would have tore you up,
No.
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 He ain't going for that, huh?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was an All-American defensive back. No, I was an All-American running back and an All-State defensive back. And, man, I was shutting them down, bro.
Yeah, but
I was shutting them down.
Those little guys you were going up
No.
against. Come on now. Keep it real now. You know,
I always had that little saying that said, I'm a thin piece of leather, but I'm well put together. And I told the people, I said, look here, you know, y'all might think I'm small, but I tell you what, I could take a hit.
Hey, T, you know that's funny you say that. One night we was at a club one night. T, I'm gonna tell this little story. It was our rookie year though. We had a club, right? And something went on, right? Something went on, and I guess the bartender tried to, got pissed off at T and tried to hem him up. And the bottom line, he went after T, and T picked him up over his head and threw him on the bar. Wait a minute. I mean, T ain't he not no big boy. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah, you might not have wanted that problem.
Wait a minute. So here's the deal, though. He picked my man and threw him across the bar. Yeah. And so the police come and everything. The bottom line, this guy was just he was just messing with T. Back in the day, Dallas was a different breed. It was a different era. We were young bucks when we came in, man. We came in. Dallas was very conservative when we came to this club. Yeah. Tony and I, as being rookies, we were like the TNT connection. We were together. And the bottom line is we were kind of bringing another dimension. It's like the millennials. We were bringing another dimension when we came here. And so anyway, this guy was kind of showing some hate towards Tony. And so the police come over there and say, "What's going on, Mr.?" Because everybody know who Tony Dorsett. I was right there. They didn't have a clue who I was. But they knew who Tony Dorsett. Hey, you got the Heisman Trophy. Hey. Yeah. They said, he goes, "What's going on here?" And he said, "Mr. Dorsett." He said, "Man, this guy came after me because I'm talking to this girl. He comes after me. I don't know what's wrong with him." And the guy said, "Watch that guy. He's a strong mother." Hey. I said, "Hey, wait a minute. He got it like that." Hey, see, and you talk about what I might not see. The one thing about defensive backs though is that defensive backs they were strong as an ox, can lift a house, run a 4-flat 40, but they really couldn't catch. T probably I don't know how good a catch T could be because T could catch when he wanted to, and he wouldn't catch when he didn't want to. He was. And I know we digress. We just kind of go around, but hey, T was a monster though.
No, so you're at the club, Young Bucks in Dallas, and you said they know who Tony Dorsett is. They don't know who you are.
No, not at all.
So what's it like? 1977, rookies coming in. Tony, you the first round draft pick. Yeah. High school. The All-American Heisman. Pops, you got a resume yourself. I'm not saying that, but you had some injuries, so you're coming in the third round. Can you talk to us about, man, what's that rookie year like when you seeing all the reps and starring, and Pops, you just trying your best to get on the field, and y'all are seeing success. You go to a Super Bowl, but that's two vastly different experiences. You're writing let Hill give you a thrill on the field, to you out there giving him a thrill. So what was that like, watching your boy star like that?
Well, that's a good thing, and that's a funny thing. T's a Heisman Trophy winner. Hey man, this guy's Walter so-and-so, Joe, winner. I've been talking about award winner. He's sitting on the sideline. He had 1,000 yards and only started half the season. But the funny thing about it, during that half of the season, when he'd come to the bench, I'd be on the sideline right beside him over there, man. Hey, he come sit down because he wasn't playing. He was playing, but he was only playing a third of the game. Yeah. Tony was a home run hitter.
He was still getting those kind of numbers.
He's still getting. That's what the thing. Yeah. He's a home run hitter. He wasn't one of those guys that he wasn't a pinch hitter. He was a full-time player that hit home runs. Tony. We have guys that can get you 4 yards of crack, which is good. But every time Tony touched the ball, he potentially getting you 70 yards of crack. Yeah. That's what made it special. But it was tough for me, and I'm sure it was tough for him because again, when I came to the Cowboys, I want to know who was this guy that was getting 300 some yards in a game versus Notre Dame, because back in the day, Notre Dame they were the real deal. When you put your socks and your shoes on, you're gonna lace your stuff up because it was the real deal. Yeah. And T got 300 yards. He got 290. He's a freshman. The freshman ran for 210 yards. As a junior, he goes for 303 yards against Notre Dame. Yeah, he got our attention. I said, I need to know who this guy is. And and when we met up, we first met up, T said he's quiet. You say you're a quiet brother. Yeah. Hey, my man was the man back to the day. Let me tell you something. Hey, he was running it then, and he's running it now. T, I'll give you all the depths without a question.
Hey, the thing about it though, here, you and I, we were kind of both in that same boat. We both trying to get in the starting lineup. Yeah. And we're both a little disappointed about not being able to get on the field. And Tom Landry had a way about himself that he would just, he trying to. They said he tries to, I don't know. He
would humble us rookies.
He wanted to humble certain people. And when they came in, and when Tony and I, and we started talking TNT connection and doing all this kind of stuff, and Tom didn't like it. But all the players, they kind of dug it, you know.
Yeah.
But Tom didn't like it, you know. So he kept trying to do us this and do us that, and you know. But finally, we said before the end of the season, we're gonna be in the starting lineup. And fortunately for us, it worked out.
Yeah, well, it worked out for him. I came up the next year, though. Hey, let me tell you something. It worked out because you know what he did? He ended up becoming the Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
On playing half the season. I mean, he played the whole season, but he's carrying about 13, 14 times a game. Maybe he might get a little bit more, and he's still producing. You got to remember, we only had 12 games then. You know, we were playing. You know, we weren't playing that 16, 17 game schedule that he was bringing to him. And you know, and Tony was a beast. You know, and T. You know, we're talking again. I digress and I come back. So I think that's what's really going to let us have a lot of fun, though. But in college, though, so now you know, hey man, you're bringing up 300 yards. I mean, you had 1,500 yards your freshman year, rushing on the All-American, like Anthony said. You know, 29 years they hadn't had a freshman All-American. I can't remember the guy's name, was Joe Smo or something, but everybody knows Tony Dorsett. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Talk to me. How'd you feel about that? I mean, that had to change your confidence. Now, come on now.
Well, you know, being able to, I always thought that I could be better than what everybody thought I should be or could be because of my size. You know, when I went to the University of Pittsburgh, I was 155 pounds, man, soaking wet.
What?
You know, soaking wet.
Look at that,
And
155.
everybody's like, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that was always about, you know, I guess that I wanted to prove everybody wrong. Just everybody's telling me I can't do it. When you told me I couldn't do something, then that's when I really went to work to try to prove you wrong.
So in high school, who was your rival team in high school?
Well, see, I went to. Everybody think my hometown. When I say where I'm from Aliquippa, but in the city, in the little town of Aliquippa, there was two high schools. There was Aliquippa High School and there was Hopewell High School.
Okay.
Aliquippa High School was predominantly black. Hopewell was predominantly white. And when I say predominantly white, I mean there was like, whatever, you got 1,500 students in the high school, and you got 3 blacks. So
I thought you were gonna say at least a football team,
no,
man. Come on,
so
man.
Aliquippa was half and half.
Right.
You know, so it was something for me, man. But you know, I always said I lived in 2 worlds when I was growing up. You know, I lived and played and everything in the hood, but I got bust out to go to school.
So you know, I mean, again, I love the career that I had. There's no question in my mind. I mean, I had a chance to play in the superstars, super teams, Super Bowl, you know, do all the things. But yeah, you know what, T? And I'm trying to think back though. I mean, they had Sports Illustrated, the All-American team and stuff like that. But and you were part of that.
Yeah.
Oh no, Playboy, wasn't it? Playboy had
Playboy
had the All-American team.
Playboy
Yeah,
had one.
yeah. We can't go there, but Playboy had an All-American team over there.
Yes.
But when you got the Heisman Trophy, was that in New York?
Yes.
So did they fly several people, or had you already been announced?
They flew several. They flew 3 or 4 of us. I think it was 4 of us. It was like 2 banquets. They had one where they had everybody, all the players that they thought was going to be the finalists for the Heisman. And then when it came up, it was like 3, 4 of us had to come back.
Ricky Bell was back around there. That's what.
Ricky Bell and I
were the top 2, weren't
were
you?
the top 2.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what it turned out to be, you know, for that season. And what happened was, Ricky got hurt.
Yeah, he ended up passing away though.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ricky Bell and I was going neck to neck, man. We were every
but there were 2 different
every
times.
weekend, man. I couldn't wait to get to the paper to find out what
he
this
did.
guy,
Huh?
What did he do? What did he do?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did look at the paper. You checked it out and said, well, you know, he had 180. I think I'm gonna get 220 now. Is that how you say?
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know, that's when you know you
Something
got
like
some
that.
skills though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, hey, you just come out. You you raise the bar. And you say, you know what? I got to take it a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So you get the Heisman. I mean, you can't beat that. You know, you get the Heisman, and now you get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. Did you think that you were going to get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys?
No. I was at that time. They had two what do you call it?
Football?
New teams coming in.
Right.
What do they call them?
Franchise. I mean, I know what you're talking about. New teams, right?
It was Tampa Bay and Seattle.
Seattle, right.
Tampa Bay had the rights to Ricky Bell.
Right.
Seattle, Tampa Bay
Okay.
had the rights to Ricky Bell.
Seattle?
Seattle had the rights to me, and they were two expansion teams coming in.
Right.
And my whole deal was, our whole approach was to say, tell them anything, be negative, and say I don't want to run behind an inexperienced offensive line. I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to be that far away from home. I want my family to be able to watch me play because they watched me from high school all the way through college, and now I don't want to do this. And man, fortunately for me, it paid off, and somehow the Cowboys ended up drafting me.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
my man.
they worked
He comes to
something
the
out.
Dallas Cowboys, and I know the feeling because I thought I was gonna be a first round pick, and I got injured. I sprained my ankle in 3 bowl games, so I'm damaged goods, and then I ended up getting picked up by the Cowboys. But the first year goes by, we have a great year, but then we develop what's really the TNT connection. I wonder if you remember that. For our listeners, that was my first game. We're playing the Baltimore Colts. It was the first game that I started. As a matter of fact, we were out at your house the night before. I mean, that week when I got announced to start. As a matter of fact, I was late to the meeting that when I was announced that I was going to be a starter. And they were late with me, but Tony Dorsett is Tony Dorsett. It ain't Thrill Hill. I ain't Thrill Hill then. I'm still Tony Hill, But the bottom line is that when we get there, I get announced, and I'm playing my first game, right? And so my first catch, we're playing Baltimore. It's 0-0 the first quarter. Second quarter, it's with about 3 minutes to go, I catch this. I catch a quick pass, and I take it like 48 yards to the 1 yard line, and we score. Our defense stops on the next play. Dorsett catches us about a 15-yard pass, and actually it was a great catch. I mean, people get a chance to look at the ball was tipped. You talk about T not really being a great catcher. Like I said, T would catch what he wanted to and what he didn't want to. I mean,
he has the suspect hands.
Yeah, I come to figure out. I don't know if they were suspect. They were just how you say it?
Opportunistic.
Yeah,
opportunistic.
Opportunistic catch. I think that might be the way he said, hey, if you didn't see no future, he said, I don't know about that. But so he makes this catch. He jukes this dude. I dropped this guy. How you gotta like that. You don't know about that, but I'm just showing on the film. I dropped this dude. And you keep making a couple catches, and I catch you as you're going because faked about 8 or 9 guys going down the field. Now, I didn't catch it because I can't run like Tony. If I ran like Tony, I'd still be in the league. T could flat out fly, the bottom line. But anyway, we going into the end zone, and we're looking at one another. Drew gives him a little high five. I hit him with the over-the-head thing. Said, I hit him with the high five and said, this is the TNT connection. Oh, yeah. And that's where we evolved from. He took a pass 90-some yards for a touchdown, and we opened up the game and ended up winning that game 38-0. You remember that, T?
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember us walking, running into the sideline,
right,
slapping each other, slapping five, and doing this. Of course, it wasn't liked very well by Coach Landry,
right?
But we were walking. We were actually almost walked across the goal line because we.
They didn't do stuff like that. It was kind of conservative, for lack of a better term. They had Billy White Shoes Johnson. He was doing his little thing with the legs and stuff like that. But the Dallas Cowboys, we were America's team. We were like, hey, you do it the right way, no matter what, so to speak. And I don't know what got into me. I hit T put his hand up. I put my hand up. Boom. The next thing you know, we slapping five, and they're talking about on Monday Night TV. Look at them boys go. We've never seen the Cowboys do anything like this. And that was the start of the TNT connection. And we went there and rock and roll,
Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive.